Man, what it do, world? It's your boy, the Toothless Wonder. Foul Sharpton. You know what I mean? Reporting on the Bamboozle Again News Network. I was ready to drop a video in a minute, but I was like, I ain't really feeling it. You know what I mean? Then I was getting set up to do my illustrious push-up workout. And a thought popped in my mind. I said, boy, let me drop on a Saturday. Because normally I don't drop on Saturday for some reason. But I got enough free time, right? And I had planned to talk about acceptance, right? But I was like, no, I ain't ready to talk about that one. Because that's something, not that I struggle with. But I'll say this. In the art of practicing acceptance, the spiritual principle of acceptance, which, I learned it, in the recovery world, you know, darn, now I forgot how the joint go. Um, Give me the grace to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. But I've noticed, right, even in my personal life, because I do be kind of, I'm mindful of this in self-awareness, that typically when I'm trying to do something and it's not working, or I start kind of like trying to cram it in there, once I practice acceptance to say, you know what, maybe this ain't for me or whatever, somehow it seems to like wipe the cache of my mental files, and then everything just works out. Granted, depending on the situation, practicing acceptance is easier said than done, but it is greatly beneficial, and it takes uh, the personal aspect out of it. It's a principle. You do it by default, or you do it rather out of duty. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Pulling yourself back up out of, or your personal feelings out of, you practicing acceptance. Let's go with the most probably egregious, right? Since I'm a man, let's say your shawty cheat on you, right? Boy, that's a tough one there. But if you practice acceptance, she cheated. Ain't nothing I can do about it. It creates this mental space where you take your personal feelings out of it. You're able to look at the situation more objectively or from a third person aspect in the process of moving forward. If you don't practice acceptance, you get angry, you might want some vengeance, you're kind of off your path because of emotionalism, so on and so forth. Which to me, practicing acceptance also uh, helps with the practicing, I want to believe it's third or first cousin, which is detachment. And in this culture and society, it is, I think, a great benefit to be able to practice acceptance and detachment. Not that as I like to call it, baseline, or you become indifferent or apathetic. It's just that you're able to accept and then detach from said situation to look at the situation for what it truly is. Because a lot of times your emotions, or in my case, my will, kind of clouds how I view stuff. It stops me from seeing things in totality. Not practicing acceptance kind of gives you a tunnel vision. So you're not able to see the forest for the trees and the entire landscape. You know what I mean? Again, back to what I was saying, let's say she cheat on you. You'll gain without practicing acceptance, you'll gain such a tunnel vision with that you can't see your other blessing, or that the fact that this woman cheated on you was a blessing, because now you have someone that you should remove from your life who will probably hinder it if they're operating in that mentality and behaviors, right? So that's just a quick one on acceptance. But right before I was ready to do my push-up, a video I saw yesterday had popped in my mind. And I said, oh, let me double back. DJ, bring the beat back. And I'm going to cover, and throughout my journey, right, I've been able to identify different groups of people for the purposes of identifying them, their common characteristics for the purpose of navigation, right? Or how I engage with them. You know what I mean? It's no different. Like I said, I'm probably the social crocodile hunter, where I observe from a safe distance the traits and behaviors of other segments or demographics of humans to chart their behaviors, so on and so forth, for the purposes of being able to identify how to engage, if at all, what they're prone to do, strong points, weak points, whatever. Not for, exploitive or manipulative purposes, but for the knowledge of knowing how to navigate the animal kingdom that's on two legs here in society, right? So I caught this video of a Hebrew Israelite group ISUPK, I think that's what it is, right? And when I was in Baltimore, I don't know what group they were out of, but they had a knowledge of like Deuteronomy 28, who you really are, whatever, whatever. But I've never been the group up organizational kind of guy. For some, even though I had no conscious reason as to why, my spirit just didn't agree with it. Even though the individuals I may have engaged with might have been whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be an affiliate. I'd rather just talk to the few that I do get along with. But I'm not ingratiating myself into no organization and the protocol. It for me, because of my personality temperament, the highest thing on my desire is freedom. It's going to be hard to be free if I'm curtailed or bound by the protocols and the politics of groups. That's why I've noticed that even all throughout my life, right? So in this particular video, it was done by a white guy named Tommy G, who I've never heard of him before. But from what I understand, he does little documentaries on proverbial hate groups, right? And I think he has 2 million subscribers, something to that effect, right? So I checks out the video, right? And this is the type of Negro I like to call the bully-coon. And I got that terminology years ago when I seen a interview of, I believe his name is Wesley Muhammad, who at the time, I don't know if he is now, he was like the information officer for the Nation of Islam. And he used this term bully-coon, right? And this describes the Negro who tough with other oppressed people, but he bows down to the oppressor, as I like to call it, the king shit on Turd Island tactic. So the white dude goes to, I think it was up in New York, and he interviews ISUPK, asking them what they believe, you know what I'm saying? These kind of courthouse baiting questions. Do you hate white folk? To paint them in the light of a hate group. Whether they are or not, depends on who you ask, if you ask them the right question. But now what has happened in their folly is that anybody who identifies as a Hebrew Israelite, whether you're part of camp or not, people are automatically going to think you're a hate group, which does nothing for public image. And in the future, they could probably be targeted, you know what I'm saying, as a national security threat, right? Even if you're not a part of a camp, the fact you identify and that this narrative is out there will probably get you labeled on one of them lists as a national security threat, right? But I kind of go into the future with that one. So we asked him all, now he's on, they set. They rapping, he asked him a question. And this the part that took me back, right? And then it made me draw back on my own experiences dealing with the bully-coon type of Negro. So he was asking them do you hate white people or something? And they kind of danced around the topic. Now, if you hate him, just go ahead and say that. Here's the object of what you say you hate. He asks you, do you hate him or those, of his race? And then you start giving political answers. I hate what my father hates. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just coming right out and saying that to the man's face when he's on your terrain. Now, he's out there by himself. Maybe him and a cameraman, I'm assuming. But it's 1,000 of y'all and one of him. He asks you a simple, direct question, and you start giving political answers like you running for office. Then, he kind of draws it out of my hate, then he says, I hate what my father hates, basically implying God hate white people, whatever, whatever. I think that's misapplying, the scripture where it says, or the isolated incident where it says God loved Jacob but hated Esau, whatever, and then make that a blanket statement, whatever the case may be, right? So then the white dude, right, and he not no physically imposing white dude, not that it really mattered, but he basically called that man a fool to his face on his set, yo. And there was no pushback. There was no rah-rah. There was no none of that. They just took it. You know what I'm saying? He called you a fool to your face in front of your mans and them on y'all turf, and y'all ain't fold the man up. But these are the same type of Negroes. Had a black man done that, who just casually walking by, they've been ready to beat him up. The bully-coon. Now what's going to happen is, he's already done so. This Tommy G guy, white man, going to upload this video. It's going to get about 1,100 million views, you know what I'm saying? And he going to make a whole bunch of money. And he going to seem like the Don Dada, because he went down to the black Israelite camp who say they hate white people and they got all this visceral for white folk and they can't wait for Yeshua to come back so they can enslave white folks, which that's not what that is, called you a fool and got out on you to your face smoothly, calmly, and then made a whole bunch of money off y'all. Now, I'm under the belief, because I believe these camps are 501c3, they probably got paid off or some type of incentive, you know what I mean, to basically be interviewed and painted in a bad light. You know what I'm saying? So, again, it goes back to what I've been saying. And somehow I be doing these videos seemingly foreshadowing when I be talking about how we're still under captivity. We talk all this free and we, the militant black whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. You know what I'm saying? But then when a singular white man show up, all that rah-rah, we might say this and say that, but all that rah-rah going out the window. Because, had they done that, shoot, they'd have came in with the National Guard and threw them all on the ground and beat them up and all that. They don't want no parts of that, yo. They just want to esteem themselves on other black folk. The kind of preeminent spirit. I esteem myself over other black folk, becoming puffed up with knowledge, but I'm still subject to all the other stuff every other black person in captivity is subject to. That's all it is. Like I seen that when I was living in Baltimore, right? When I was in one of these, it was called Community Wellness, right, off of Eastern Avenue. It was a black Christian ran organization, which I found very telling, right? Because all the male leadership was sweet, you know what I'm saying? But they're Christian, right? And then the institution itself in its various locations where they would house people, call themselves poverty pimping. So they would call themselves, housing, the less fortunate of Baltimore City in these various locations. But the locations are almost like the Carter and the Terror Dome, bro. They didn't care anything about the actual well-being of the people they're servicing. They just care about getting the insurance money. So it was so crazy. The worse off you were, the better you were for the institution, because now they can justify giving you all these services that don't serve you none. They don't make you functional. They don't help you move forward in life. They just hold you to them, almost like a cult. And the few people who had some initiatives, such as myself, they would actually end up getting kicked out for technicality. I seen one dude, he ended up getting a job. So, like, your rent, no matter what, was like, I think it was a third of like your state TDAP money, because you had to get that to get into the program, right? So let's say your rent is like $50 a month. You might get $200 at the time, right? But you're always on site for them to come up with these various services so they can bill your insurance to high heaven, right? Now I came privy to, I forgot what the term they call it, but they're like, I come to discover this one, right? So my roommate he had got an insurance invoice. So they would piss you twice a week, but it don't matter if you're dirty or not. They just doing it for money purposes. So they was charging the state funded insurance, I think something like $600 for every cup of urine that they process. So I think it was so that's $1,200 just for urine. $1,200. So let's say they was charging our insurance $4,800 for 8 cups of urine. So they marked the price real up. The insurance company isn't paying $4,800 for no urine, right? But they'll give them $2,200. Cool enough. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff, right? The issues that would go on in these locations, it was me, a Muslim brother, and a smooth cat daddy type brother. We all lived in the same apartment from West Baltimore. The other residents of these places would come to our apartment to mediate situations, you know what I'm saying, seek guidance, whatever. They wouldn't go to the staff because the staff didn't care. Yeah, it was, I've done videos about them before in the past. If you need to, check it out, right? But I remember when I first went to Eastern Avenue, because what happened was the guy that took us to this particular building left like the Baltimore Colts in the middle of the night and just left us in the building. So luckily, I had an aunt that lived in the same general area of East Baltimore. So I moved in with her, but I've been with these cats at least over a year and some change. So I'm like, darn, this is whack, woo. So I still had keys to my room in the building, even though I wasn't living there, because I was working at another location and I had to pass by there anyway. So sometimes, like, I would just duck in and take a nap, or I would leave out early for my overnight shift, go chill with the homies, woo. So I stopped by one night And my roommate, the old West Baltimore brother, he tell me about this new organization came in. Because before they came in, we were paying rent like we had jobs. Like I was giving plasma and, you know what I'm saying, hopping on Craigslist, finding a hustle just to pay the rent. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't know what he was doing. Then he left in the middle of the night, whatever, right? So I'm like, finance. Oh yeah, this is this, and I still had keys and stuff there, and I was kind of on my own. So I'm like, yeah. So he gave me the card. I had to go on Eastern Avenue to, get enrolled and whoop the whoop the whoop and tell him, how I found out and da da da, right? So mind you, at this point, like, I hadn't realized at this point, and I'm on my, get my life together type tip, yo. So I'm looking for jobs. I got my khakis and my polo shirts, uh, armed up and whatnot, you know what I mean? So I goes on down there to the spot, right? So I walk in, so I'm looking real professional, right? Pants tucked in, you know what I'm saying? Well, shirt tucked in, pieced up and creased up. And I'm asking to speak to the guy that my roommate told me to speak to. But they all kind of looking around like nervous. And I'm kind of like looking like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, my whoop whoop told me. And they was like, oh, okay, yeah. Come to find out later on, they got nervous because they thought I was from the state. I've seen white folk come around, like from the state or the city come around, and they talk all this stuff to us. Oh, you gonna do what we said? Because trust and believe, ain't none of these people professional. You ask them a question, they ain't got the answer. They act like they won't fight. You know what I'm saying? And then the clients or the residents have to break up a staff member and another resident. Like, yo, it was monkey-fied to say the least in the Black ran Christian organization where the leadership suite, right? So whereas though, I'll never forget one time somebody from the city had pulled up and all the black folk got looking down at the ground and all that. And I went and I egged up, I kind of sliced it up. I went down there. I said, man, y'all know better than that, yo. Captain, what you talk? Because I've already been kind of like calling stuff out and all that for the greater good of everybody. I said, man, y'all talk all that stuff to us. He wasn't even who y'all thought he was. As soon as y'all seen him with a briefcase, y'all put y'all head down. But talk all that tough stuff to us, who ain't got a leg to stand on. Then I'm like, y'all supposed to be Christian? Where that's at in the Bible? You know what I mean? Not realizing, and I ain't carrying it nowhere. I was kind of getting put on the blackballed list yet again, which ended up actually happening because I had to go down there. And so what happened was I was taking a solar thing, right? So my caseworker who do no work, every day he would call me and ask me where I'm at. So he antagonized. I'm like, yo, you my caseworker. I done showed you the paper verification of where I'm at. Why do you call me every day and ask me where I'm at to go have me do something so y'all can make money off of me? But they was like, well, it's a mandatory, it's part of your whoop, right? I said, yeah, I get that, right? But as far as I know, I'm the only person going to any job training in all of your locations. How do I get out of here unless I upgrade my skill set? That's what I'm trying to better myself. But it seems like y'all trying to stop me, yo. They give me some old wild political answer. Don't answer none of the stuff I'm asking, right? So on this particular day, I'm leaving out to go to school, and some of the other residents outside, and they was like, did you get the message? We got to go down Eastern Avenue and sign a new authorization form, and it's mandatory. Now, mind you, they've been plucking my nerves. I haven't been getting answers on certain stuff, like our heat and air in the apartment didn't work. So I'm like, man, you know what, yeah. Now, by this time, I relapsed. So I said, you know what, I'm going, yeah, all right, bet. Because now I'm going to be where all these bigwigs at. I can talk to them face to face. So this don't keep happening, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I've been calling like the number one and the number two man, leaving messages, sending emails. Nobody responded to me, right? So mind you, they say, we're going to pick y'all up at 10 o'clock, let's say. 10 o'clock come, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock come, nothing. It start trending towards 1 o'clock. I done missed school, ain't talked to nobody. Man, I'm going to get some beer, yo. So I'm out front with the rest of the homies, drinking, cutting up, you know what I mean, whatever, trying to, woo-woo. These people pull up like 4 something in the afternoon talking about, come on, with the van, right? Mind you, I ain't drunk, but I'm buzzed up. So I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. And I'm feeling pretty nice, so whatever. Gets down the joint. The number two man, now mind you, when we get down there, it's a complete, black people ain't got no organizational skill. It's a complete cluster F, right? Everybody all over the place, don't nobody know what they doing. Don't nobody know what's going on. You know what I mean? So as I step through the threshold of the door, the number two man there underneath the CEO man, I call him the lollipop man. He was good and zesty, right? So now I might have smelled like beer or whatever, but I say, excuse me, can I have a word with you, right? He just flares up on me and start howling and screaming. And that's one thing, I don't like people howling at me. I said, who the are you talking to? But I had enough sense to step back out the threshold of the door. You know what I'm saying? And I held probably about a half hour to a 40-minute sermon on all the egregious acts I had seen from these people from the day they took over the particular building. You'd have thought, pause, you'd have thought I was TD Jakes out there. Ain't nobody say nothing. Ain't nobody interrupt me. I gave it to him. There was one woman who, she was sleeping with a dude who had moved in the building who wasn't in the program. He was selling drugs to her and then getting her, like, if he had issues, because he trying to intimidate people, right? Bully-cooning. So because he has this staff member in his pocket, if somebody want to pay him or they, kind of butt back at him for what he doing in the building and he ain't supposed to be in there, he would just use her to make it hard for them. So I seen her kind of emerge out the shadow, and I said, what's she doing here? I thought y'all fired her. Y'all just moved her around. She must be eating y'all penises in here. Man, all y'all a bunch of freaks. You know what I'm saying? Call y'all. Man, I gave it to him out that joint, right? So, after a while, some of the homies, Kyle, come on, Kyle. Nah, man, they gonna get this work today, man. This is crazy, yo. So end up bopping out. I walks all the way home from downtown Baltimore all the way to East Baltimore. So I kind of knew what was going down. Next morning I wake up after a slight hangover and I had the eviction notice under my door. You know what I mean? But it just reminds me and reiterates in these various like locations, these inpatient places or whatever, where you always had a bully-coon type of Negro who play tough with you, but 9 times out of 10, he can't think for himself. He can't process new information. He typically lives on the nostalgia of something he's done prior in the streets or in prison, but he's non-functional outside the umbrella of white folk. That's why white folk hire him, because he can't think. He's a brute, and he can help keep the other Negroes in line while the proverbial white man go golfing. And he enjoys the white man's validation. So he don't mind messing up other people or doing, playing the game real dirty, so long as the white man give him an extra pat on the back and a couple extra pieces of cornbread, because that's all you get. You don't care about your reputation. You don't care about... It's two people, or two segments of Negroes that typically get installed in these various corporations or whatever that have more of a plantation kind of construct to it. It's either the bully-coon Negro, who's a brute, or like the man on Life with the shotgun, talking about you Negroes make me sick. It's either him or he's super sweet and butt-broken and flamboyant. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel, and typically the latter, the flamboyant, zesty Negro, he can sit on a board or he can actually be in the house or whatever, because he gives the illusion of inclusion, upward mobility. But they know, like, he ain't gonna buck nothing. You know what I'm saying? He's happy just to be around boss. And he's not gonna make them feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? The bully-coon Negro ain't going to the upper echelon. He stays more middle management. You know what I'm saying? Because he helps keep the other Negroes in line. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to go to the higher-ups and fight or advocate for the people underneath of him. He's just happy that he's a little higher than the Negroes he's talking to. You know what I mean? It's just sad. And them seem to be the only two. Or Negroes who don't fall into any of those demographics, such as myself. You do what you got to do, you work a job, but typically you trying to get free, you trying to get entrepreneurial, you trying to, you know what I'm saying, because you don't fit in anywhere, you know what I'm saying, and you're ultimately going to be the odd man out, or you can only go up but so high. And if you're the typical Negro such as myself, you're not putting no ceilings on yourself. You're going for the gusto. You're not letting, quote unquote white supremacy hold you back, or your past, or you know what I'm saying, you're not making excuses. Every day you're trying to be better. You're struggling to be better. You're in your mind to be better. Not just for you, but for you, yours, your family, your community. You're trying to break the generational curses. These people have no vested interest on breaking any generational curses, because if you break the generational curse, their position falls. No different than if I'm a doctor and I cure you, in the construct we live in, I ain't gonna have no more patients. Not realizing it'll just lead credence to me as a doctor. Like, if you're a mechanic and I can't fix your car, that means I'm a horrible mechanic. Or if you got to keep bringing it back to me. You see what I'm saying? like in this plantation construct, as I like to call it, they like to keep their hooks in you as best they can. And typically, once you break free from one of these organizations, you get blackballed. You see what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, because of this organization, I'm better, I'm great. And then that leads credence to the reputation of the institution to help people and so on and so forth. They're not worried about that. They don't want you to break free. They want you to stay underneath them. No different than the church. Leave the church or have a philosophical difference with. They don't say, okay, well, we always had, wish you nothing but the best. Typically, they tell your name up because they figure out you know better or you see them for what they really are, and they're actually afraid of you, which is kind of wild to me, right? Where you have a whole organization afraid of one man. And typically, if you're quote unquote chosen, right, you'll probably notice this in your personal life, even though you don't walk around like, throwing your weight around, or you don't think you're, or carry it like I'm better than you or anything like that. After a period of time of people being around you and you around them, you'll start discovering these people afraid of you. Not because you've done anything to threaten them, but their minds can't figure out how is he different. You see what I'm saying? They can't fathom the things you've endured. They can't fathom your authenticity. You see what I'm saying? Or your ability to have foresight. Or in my personal case, I just kind of be nonchalant and just go about my daily due. But I see stuff and make a mental note. They'll be surprised of how observative and perceptive you are and how you can put things together. They'll be afraid of you when you see through them. Not to call you out on, I just say it. You know what I'm saying? And then when you make maybe or show as such, then they're blown away because in the ego of the mind, they thinking everybody think they slick. Like my man down in North Carolina told me, he said, Kyle, you gotta understand. And everybody think that they're a legend in their own mind. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to come through, and that was more of what I wanted to cover, the whole bully-coonism. You know what I mean? It's like king shit on Turd Island. That's why, like, when I was in treatment or whatever, I actually turned down an internship in which they give you a different color badge, and everybody got to have a free job where, you know what I'm saying, work therapy as they called it. So I could get a change color in my badge, and they start paying you. So I'm like, how much it pay? I think it was $50 taxable every 2 weeks. So this don't take much for me way up on the scale because I clean toilets and bathrooms and whatnot. So I said I can work 15 minutes a day for free and have the rest of the day for myself. Or I can take this internship, get a title and all this responsibility to come with it, work for y'all 40 hours a week and make $50 every 2 weeks. I said, I don't think I'm worthy of this dubious honor, yeah. I'd rather work for free. Because in my free time, I can do the things for me. And I actually, go on Craigslist or find whatever. And I ain't got to fool with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Which be the main thing for me. Yeah, the pay suck. And I ain't doing all that work for that little bit of pay. Just so I can say, the white man gave me a new bag. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm back on roots or something. You know what I mean? When Fiddler said, boss gave me these new britches. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not doing that. But you be surprised at the mental programming, I guess, of the Negro, where that's saying something. If the white man validate me, that must mean I'm valid. My validation don't come from none of that. No, sir. No man, be honest with you, white, black, or otherwise. It's actually come from all the stuff by the grace of the Most High I've been able to endure and have no residue of it ever happening to me. That's magic in and of itself. I should have been lost my mind. I should have been in the ground. I should have been in the insane asylum. And, well, as far as the insane asylum, I've been there a couple times. They say typically once you lose your mind, you don't get it back. I've been blessed enough to have lost my mind a couple times. You know what I'm saying? So that was just a quick one, man. Let me get to this workout on the side, man. Man, I love y'all, man. Y'all stay up out here. And I pray that my content, because sometimes I feel like I'm rambling on here, just helps you identify what you may see. Like, oh man, the 2+1 did say that. And that's all I'm trying to do. I don't really care about no super duper big YouTube channel or monetization. Granted, it'd be nice, but I just want to help at the end of the day in my own special way. You know what I mean? Wasn't that a song? Every day, help me your own special way. And on that note, I'm going to holler at y'all. Ooh, I will give y'all some more, but that's all I'm going to give you till I get my deal. I'm going to holler at y'all. Ooh,